Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of a life adventure with Mike. So, it's been a couple weeks since I did one. There was the holidays, there was overtime at work, there was life. I'm going to try to get it to once a week. I'm hoping to do it on Fridays. I know this is Monday, but this is the day I have available. And I hope you thought it was worth the wait. Those of you who listen to this on a podcast, I still have my YouTube channel. If you go on the YouTube channel, if you can't watch it here, then maybe you can follow the podcast. There'll be a link in both. So the first two times I talked about movies, whether or not Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and we found out it was. And then I talked about how Avatar 2 was supposed to be so great, and I really didn't think it was going to be. And a lot of people I've talked to didn't think it was that great. They went and saw it because, they've been waiting 13, 14 years to see the sequel, and they were disappointed with the story, which I kind of figured would happen because I was disappointed with the story in the first one, hence why they only need to see the second one. But I could talk about sports. Sports is really big to me, as those who know me, and well, I don't really want to talk about it because I'm a little disappointed. The Vikings didn't show up, and I had the Vikings Bills in the Super Bowl, and it was looking good the way the regular season was going, and then the Vikings lost, so now my only hope for half of the Super Bowl right would be the Bills, so I guess that's where I'm putting my money. Um, Plus, they screwed up my 16 parlay, which I was 4 for 4, or actually 5 for 5 going into that game, so yeah. So, what I'm going to talk about, like I said, is comics. Now, I love comics. Comics are fantastic. I've read them my entire life. They're some of my best friends. I'm passionate about them. And the first thing I'm going to talk is people are going to ask, well, I see the Joker on the back, so you're a DC guy. No. Well, am I a Marvel guy? No. I'm a comics guy. At one point, I had 4,500 comics. They're gone now. It's a long story, different times. But I love my comics. And I've Marvel, DC, Image, Vertigo, all of them. Any comics. If the comic, the art, the story, something's grabbed me, I do it. Same thing with movies and movies. If it speaks to me, it's important. So, with that being said, I don't understand some things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is fanboys. And I personally have been a fanboy. Don't get me wrong, but I've been a fanboy in a different way than most fanboys. I'm not pro DC. Everything Marvel does is garbage. I'm not pro Marvel. Everything DC does is garbage. I don't get upset when somebody plays a Marvel character in a movie and then he goes and plays a DC character. That doesn't bother me. Comics are comics. I like them. I can't understand why some of the fan bases of both sides just butt heads like two, goats on the top of a mountain deciding who gets the little foot there. There's plenty of room for everybody. I guess the point is you just gotta understand where you sit in the comic world. If you're 100% DC, that's fine. But you have to understand that some people just don't get DC. Some people don't like the art. Some people don't like the story. Some people don't like the fact that every 10 years they restart everything. And then if you're on the Marvel side of it, some DC fans don't get how you can kill a character and 2 weeks later they're back. Or how the loner Wolverine is in every comic, but he's supposed to be such a loner, but since he's selling comics, he's making money. So what I'm going to talk about is something that has pepperated, yeah, there we go, that's a good word, that I thought about a lot. And like I said, I go both DC, Marvel, I tear them apart, I put them up. Sometimes I'm happy with one, sometimes I'm not happy with one. I go all over the place. But I noticed something that as a person here, my own intellect, whatever you want to call it, my own ideas, my own take on things. People call Superman a Boy Scout. They call him that all the time, They call him in the comics, television shows, movies. He has this, because, oh, I'm the truth, justice, and the American way, and all this and that. And, he's there to do good, and in some ways he's a messiah type character because he's so powerful he can save the world on his own and all this and that. And that's probably why I lean towards being a bat when it comes to DC, being a Batman fan, because Batman is just a human. He has limits, you know. But with that being said, if you aren't a fan of comics and you're watching this, let me explain a little bit, and then I'll explain my take on it. In the DC universe, the big three, which are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman come about all at about the same time, then are followed quite closely by the rest of what I call the keys. Um, Green Lantern, The Flash, Aquaman, in the modern take, and Cyborg. So what happens is in the DC universe, whenever they restart it, like I said, they kind of start it about every 10 years, Superman shows up first. He's the catalyst. He lands in Kansas. He's raised by Mom and Pa Kent, gets all those values, all that stuff, and then he realizes he has this tremendous gift, and because of the way he was brought up, he needs to do something. He needs to find a way to help the world. And he's like, well, I need to be on the pulse of the world. So what does Superman do? He goes to Metropolis. We all know this. He goes to Metropolis, gets a job at the Daily Planet, falls for Lois Lane, makes an arch enemy of Lex Luthor, and then all the other bad guys. And then about the same time he shows up in Metropolis and starts his stuff, Bruce Wayne has finished his training, has returned to Gotham, and has yet not become Batman. Because first he has to go out and get his butt whipped a couple of times before he realizes he needs something to put fear into the criminal element, and that's when he decides to go with the Batman stuff. But here's why I personally don't think that Superman's a Boy Scout. I honestly think he's a complete and utter asshole. Yeah, you heard me right. Superman is an asshole. And this is why Superman is an asshole. He has all these wonderful abilities and powers. And where does he go? As we just mentioned a little while ago, he goes to Metropolis. Metropolis is a shining star. Doesn't really have a lot of crime, and the reason it doesn't have a lot of crime is it has a crime lord in the disguise of a huge businessman, Lex Luthor. Nothing goes on in that city without Lex having his fingers on the pulse. So yes, there is crime, and then after Superman gets there, he realizes it's Lex Luthor, and that's why they become arch enemies. But Lex is taking care of Metropolis in his way. It's a beautiful city, glass structures, it's clean. The police don't really have to work that hard. And what does Clark Kent do? I'm gonna go there. Well, at the meantime, across the bay, there's the worst city in the DC universe, Gotham City. It's a shithole. It's rampant with mob and drugs and police corruption. It's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible city. Why doesn't Superman go there? You know how quickly he could clean that up? One night, cleans out the docks full of drugs. He breaks down all the mobsters. He ends police corruption because there's no money, so none of these cops who were being corrupted are suddenly got nobody to back them up. Bruce comes back to Gotham. He has nothing to do because Gotham is nice now. So all he has to do is, like, I don't know, build a new transit system, donate his money and time, use all those skills he did to become the world's greatest detective to end the police corruption that Superman didn't do physically. And there's the problem. The Superman is so powerful, but here's his excuse. I'm going to work at the Daily Planet so I can find out where things are going on. He could easily have worked at the Gotham Globe. And then here's the other thing. If he does go to Gotham, we don't get the other supervillains. We don't get the Joker. We don't get the Riddler. We don't get the Penguin. We don't get all these guys because there's the argument that when Batman starts, he escalates things and the supervillains kind of come out from his mistakes or his warrior mentality to clean up Gotham. What if Superman, Clark Kent, would just use his freaking brain and go to Gotham and just clean it up? And he could literally clean it up. He could use his super speed and super breath and all that, blow all the garbage off the streets, take off all the years of neglect, tear down all the buildings that need to be torn down instead of waiting for corrupt construction companies to do it, who just are looking for kickbacks from the mob. Like I said, he ends the drug trade in one night using his X-ray vision going from dock to dock to destroy all of it. He could put the fear of God, because that's what he is in some people's eyes, into these low levels who would tell him who the middle levels are, and the middle levels are going to turn into hot ones. It's just, he is. He's an asshole. He has all this ability. He has the one place that he could do the best good, and what does he do? Nah, I'm going to go to Metropolis where it's nice and easy on me. So, that's my take. Superman is not a Boy Scout. He's an asshole. And that's just from years of looking at it from my own comic book perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Superman. He has his place in comics. Without Superman, there would not be comics. He's the icon. He's the first one. Other heroes have elements of him. Um, but if you're going to reset the universe, reset it right. Instead of waiting every 10 years to bring in your big three and then just follow the same, I don't know, pattern. But that's just my little fun take on it. But in all seriousness, Superman is a Boy Scout. He's a Boy Scout because he does stand up for the values that most people find hard to find. There's a certain ethical icon to Superman, which as a person I kind of like. At times, to be honest, I love Batman, but I ain't beating nobody up over something. Instead, I'm gonna, try to make them feel bad about themselves like Superman does. But yeah, that's just comics. I love them, but I think about things like that. Yeah, as you can see, I am kind of a nerd. It's kind of odd. And maybe next week I'll follow this up with why I hate Wolverine so much. That could be an interesting story. I'm sure that could be what they call a tease in the business. I'm going to tease you with why Wolverine is such an awful, awful character. And then it's not from the thing that's on the internet where he could be giving his organs and stuff away. That's part of it. Yeah, you might want to look that up. It's a pretty funny meme. How he could just save people every day by giving away his organs. But this is Mikey. It's good talking to you guys. I hope you'll enjoy this episode. I'm gonna, as I said, endeavor to be once a week. So maybe I'll be back. Well, no, I think I'm gonna be back this Friday with Wolverine. And then the next week, I don't know what I'll do after that. Like I said, it could be sports, it could be comics, it could be movies. Basically, whatever touches me at the time. And I hope you enjoy these little. I I would like to call them fireside chats, but I'm not that good. I'm not presidential material. Ask my friends. So Happy New Year. I hope your holidays were good. I hope 2023 is looking up for you. I wish you the best, and keep checking in for Mikey's Adventure. And like I said, I have my YouTube channel here, my podcast. I'll make sure there's a link if you can't do one or the other, or if you want to do both. You want to see my smiling face to go along with my soothing voice, as I've been told I have. And you all take care.